Happy Tuesday to you all. So, FFG's dropping bombshells on Twitter. I'm sure she'll bring this up on she's picked for today. And I think she may have actually gotten that information from Breezy, who vowed on her live stream the other night to pull Kaibella's criminal records. So, as the story goes, Kaibella did not go to rehab. She was arrested for theft. She had been stealing Amazon packages off of people's doorsteps. That is allegedly what happened. And so I don't know where she was sleeping during the day, probably with friends. I don't believe anything that comes out of her mouth because clearly she lies. She's right up there with the lol cows. Just as bad. But I watched a react to Just Breezin', and yeah, she went way the hell overboard. She could have explained that all in about 15 minutes. She spent an hour raging on Kaibella because apparently she was in a relationship with Isaac, who is the Be Our Guest dude. And by the end of the interview, they were talking about DMing each other, him and Kaibella. So that sent her off the edge. Um, but she had a lot of backstory on the planning of that panel and said that she couldn't say anything about it because she wanted it to be a successful panel. So she couldn't get into that. See how easy that was to describe? It did not take an hour. Like, that was kind of a ridiculous amount of time to rage against somebody because she's potentially trying to hook up with your internet boyfriend who you probably haven't even met. So there's that. Um, these crazy kids. This is one of the reasons I try and stay away from the React channel drama. You know, I'm not going to watch that guy's channel anyway because he was so insensitive to people with that can be triggered by strobe lighting. And he just had it all over the place throughout that interview, and an hour wait time. Told us that it was going to start, I think, at 5, and didn't actually show up on screen until after 6. That was a waste. I already did a review about this. I did a review about this, but this is very interesting allegations that she wasn't actually in rehab, she was in jail. And if she was in LA, then she was probably not in a great facility. Just saying. Probably a lot of rough and tumble people in that jail, is all I'm saying. I mean, she thinks she's scrappy, but I don't think she's that scrappy. But she's proving more and more that she a liar, and she can't remember details. She couldn't remember what month it happened, if it was December or February. Whereas the rest of us are like, it started on December 18th and it ended on December 28th. We remember, right? So I'm eager to see what FFG has to share with us about these new allegations that she didn't actually go to rehab, she was in jail. And I'm wondering how they found out that it was specifically for um, stealing Amazon packages off people's porches. Like, I don't know if they write up such detailed information in what they release to the public, but maybe they do. Maybe they do. I've never been arrested, so I don't know what these things look like. I don't know what detail they get into. But apparently that's the allegations. Um, and so she has some explaining to do, Lucy. You know? You said you were in rehab, whereas it looks like you need to be in rehab right now. Can't remember any of the details. Lost both of your phones that you were using to capture all this footage. How'd you lose your phones? Had to get a new phone. It's sketch. And she said that they didn't all load to like the Google backup. So she probably hit the max of her storage space. But all she would have had to do is go in there and delete a few other things, and it would have started backing up what was missing. That guy did such a softball interview. It was really a waste of time. He did not ask about the allegation of her sending him nudes. Um, it does seem like a very long time to engage in troll activity before deciding to dip and drop it to the internet. Seems like she might have been into it. She might have been considering whether or not she wanted to take up this offer, but she just didn't have the money to do it. I just don't know what to believe here. She's super shady, and now that we know allegedly that she's a thief and was caught and arrested for that, how can you trust her? How can you trust somebody like that? I mean, everybody in girl world is just kind of the lowest of the low people. And yet they get rewarded with views, and they can live off the money on they make from YouTube. That's pretty amazing, because I couldn't imagine getting to the point where I could actually live off the money. But maybe if I get StreamYards, I figure out how to build like an intro page and put up all the disclaimers of this is fair use, I'm just discussing it. I don't have any other content on this one, so it doesn't really matter. I'm allowed to talk about these things. And then Mr. Snowflake had come up with a theory. It's a darn good theory, too. Um, that Tommy is Valentine. That adds up. So Amberlynn came on and did a live, I guess it was live. Maybe it was pre-recorded video, insisting that she doxed Valentine and said her name was Erica. And she was married and had a child. So, I guess the question would be, how long did she know that? To each their own. I think that cheating isn't nearly as bad as what Tommy did to her deceased partner. But it's still pretty bad, depending on the circumstances. Um, if they still believe that they're in a loving relationship, taking care of a child together, then that's pretty bad. There are certain situations, I think, that kind of make it okay. Like if you have an open relationship, you've decided you want to try new things, or you have plans to get a divorce, but you have a timeline for it, um, and you're no longer doing anything romantic, or those I think would be situations in which you could probably seek another partner on the side. That's like your relationship is falling apart, you know? I'll tell you though, even when I had my most miserable days with my ex-boyfriend from 2012, I never cheated on him and he never cheated on me. And I knew he would never cheat on me. Like, I could tell that his personality was as such that, and he wasn't the best of looking dudes, right? So it would have been difficult for him to find somebody. Um, and so we put up with each other until it was time to part ways, if you will. But I had him sleeping on the couch. He got exiled. Is anybody gonna do Taco Tuesday? Hey, Vac. Good luck. That sounds crazy. I just don't even know. Like, I didn't see any receipts attached to it. So I'm gonna have to, like, go back to Twitter and see what has been posted about this. But I know that Jess Breezen said that she was gonna pull the criminal report, the criminal records. Now, I don't know how that goes. Because, well, I suppose if you get them directly from the courthouse, that'd be a FOIA request. And so it's made public. It is out for the public consumption. But if you get it through a background check, those background checks say that you cannot use this in any capacity to try and harm somebody's reputation or hurt their employment opportunities or harass them or, you know, try and extort them or whatever. So, depends on where you get the records from. But Kiwi Farms is probably getting a lot more hits to their website now. That they've got all these juicy details about all these crazy people. But yeah, I don't think she went to rehab. She looks like she's totally out of it. I think she was high on stream. She couldn't remember anything. You know? She couldn't remember anything. There's like an hour long video out. I can't remember who did it. Of Eugenia Cooney, how she got here, basically, like from the beginning of her YouTube career. And he was analyzing like the steady decline of how she was already skinny, but definitely not like she is now, you know. And she was dancing and stuff, but it didn't look as creepy as it does now. Um, I started watching it, but like it was too long. I didn't have time for that because it's trash day. I had to get things down to the trash. I had things I gotta do, you guys. I have to do laundry. Still having a hard time getting my prescription because they want to bill my private insurance, and it's supposed to be billed like to the state or something. I don't know. They need to give me the details on that so I can pass it along to the pharmacist. Otherwise, I'm not going to be starting that new medicine. I ordered a new bath plug from Target, but it's not going to be here until the 5th of August. And so I still have to take showers in the hall which is really hard for me because sometimes when I go in there, I have balance issues or I start shaking. Um, Especially when I'm doing my hair, you know, because my arms are raised up over my heart, and that can, increase the feeling of faintness. How are you doing, Vac? You still on? Did you dip? Dippy dippy. If you saw my House of Dragons review, that was the best one. That was the best one. When the biggest dragon got claimed, but right before he got claimed, he was burning up everybody inside. He was just like burning everybody inside. And he's, eating them like Jurassic Park. And so I said, Dippy Dippy. Beauty bite. Yeah. There are all kinds of ways to cross over the comedy of these things. Anywho, I have another trash truck rolling in, so I'm gonna end pretty short here. I might come on later